Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining this live interactive telephone town hall. My name is Robin, and I'll be moderating this call this evening. This evening, we'll be taking audience questions, and we're eager to hear from you. We'll be taking as many of your questions as we possibly can on this event. If you have a question for the Congressman, you can press *3 on your telephone keypad now or at any time during this call. After pressing *3, you'll be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. The staff member will take down your name and question, and the next time you hear your name, you'll be live on the call and you'll be able to ask your question directly to the Congressman. You may also press *6 to subscribe to our e-newsletter. Again, if you have any questions throughout the event, press *3 on your telephone keypad. And if you'd like to subscribe to the Congressman's e-newsletter, please press *6. And now it's time to turn the call over to Congressman Kevin Mullin. Congressman, you are live and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Robin. Good evening from Washington, D.C. I'm your Congressman, Kevin Mullin. And tonight I am excited to be hosting a digital town hall with my colleague, the wonderful Congresswoman, Eshoo, who is retiring from the United States House of Representatives after an inspiring 30-plus year career in the House. We'll be talking about democracy, the future of our country, and Anna's decades of experience representing parts of San Mateo County and Santa Clara County. You can watch a video of tonight's event by visiting my website at kevinmullin.house.gov/live. That's kevinmullin.house.gov/live. We'll also be taking questions from the audience. So if you'd like to ask a question, as Robin indicated at the top of the show, press *3, and that will connect you with our staff at any point during this event. That's *3 if you'd like to ask a question. And you can also press *6 if you'd like to sign up for our e-newsletter. So Congresswoman Eshoo, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's a little after 9 o'clock East Coast, a little after 6 o'clock on the West Coast. I'm pretty sure you're still here in Washington, D.C. with me as we've been waiting perhaps to vote on a continuing resolution. We're sort of in limbo at the moment, but thank you so much, Anna, for spending some time with us tonight.
Oh, absolutely, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for your team setting it up. And I'm anxious to hear from your constituents who at some time or other in my elective life I represented. So San Mateo County is my home. It's a very special place, and I'm so proud of you. And I think everyone on the call is too, otherwise they wouldn't be calling in. So I'm anxious to hear what is on their minds. These telephone town hall meetings, I've done, oh my goodness, for almost 2 decades, and people love them. They get to speak directly to us and ask whatever is on their mind, and we're ready for the questions.
Excellent. Well, it's going to be an enjoyable evening, I think. We're going to dig into some meaty issues as well, but also have a little bit of fun. And before we start our conversation, Ann, I wanted to remind folks, we've got a poll question. We want to just get sort of take a temperature of the folks that are watching, how they feel about the direction of the country. I sort of suspect if they're on this call and watching this, they may have a little bit of a negative view of sort of where things are going right now, but we are putting this poll question out to folks. Please press 1 on your phone if you are hopeful, and you press the number 2 if you are concerned for the future of this country. Again, it's press 1 if you are hopeful about the direction of the country and the future, and press 2 if you are concerned and anxious about that future. So we'll have some poll results a little bit later in the evening. But Anna, you are retiring after more than 30 years in Congress. Tomorrow is your last in-session day here in Washington, D.C. You've been a mentor to me and many others for those years, and I'm proud to have served alongside you during these past 2 years in Congress, my first term here in the House. And just I'm sure the folks watching this know about you and your background, but just in case there is somebody who isn't, let me just indulge us here if we can. During your service in the House of Representatives, Congresswoman Eshoo has earned the reputation of being a problem solver and a consensus builder. She has worked to protect the environment, advocated for clean energy production, fought for consumer protections, and has consistently promoted American innovation, our innovation economy, which is home to the peninsula. She served on the powerful House Energy and Commerce Committee. She helped draft portions of America's landmark Affordable Care Act. And after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, she led the charge to create the first nationwide interoperable public safety communications network, still in place. Anna represents California's 16th district, which once included portions of my 15th congressional district in San Mateo County. We have shared priorities for the region, including the electrification of Caltrain, which is a real victory. It's coming online, as well as addressing sea level rise and environmental protection work generally. And while serving as a Democrat in Congress, Anna at different points has been part of the majority and minority parties. And tonight we're going to discuss her experiences and where we go as a country. We're also going to open it up to questions from the audience, of course, this being a digital town hall. So again, if you'd like to ask a question, press *3 and you will be connected. So Anna, I guess the most pressing question for those of us here on Capitol Hill at this late hour here on the East Coast, are we going to get home for the holidays? Are we going to have a vote, do you think, on a continuing resolution? It looked like there was a bipartisan agreement in place. And then late this afternoon, Elon Musk and Donald Trump started tweeting, and somehow there's been a backing away from a bipartisan agreement by the majority Republicans. I don't want to strike too partisan a tone here at the outset, but this is emblematic, I think, of some of the dysfunction we've seen, unfortunately, that's really been punctuated here the last couple of years. But were you surprised at all by sort of the developments this afternoon here on the Hill?
Well, I would have pressed *1 in terms of being hopeful that we would have concluded our work. The reason that we are where we are is it is clearly the responsibility of the majority party in the House to produce a budget for our nation. But they didn't do that. And so we have limped along voting for continuing resolutions so that the government doesn't shut down. And Kevin, you're absolutely right. We thought that there was a bipartisan agreement around a continuing resolution that would take the country to, I think it was March 14th. And then this afternoon, the next president of the United States leaned in. He didn't like it. He told them to scrap it and start all over again. So this has to be resolved. This should be a source of embarrassment to them. But they have a problem. The Republicans have had a problem from day one of this Congress that is now concluding because they have at least 60 members, a solid 60 members. Sometimes it goes up to 70, who only will vote no. They don't care what it is. They just continue to vote no. So no budget, a continuing resolution, and the one that was supposed to move tomorrow has been scrapped. And so I'm sure there are a lot of people that are going to be up through the night trying to write a new one. And that's unfair to the people of our country. It's very unfair. So I don't know when we're going to get out, Kevin. I don't think anyone knows right now. But if there is a lack of agreement, then the government will shut down in 2 days.
Our hard deadline.
That's coal. That's coal in everyone's stocking.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So our hard deadline is Friday at midnight. We have to get a continuing resolution deal. We are coming up on that deadline. A shutdown of the government over the holidays, over New Year's, unthinkable, frankly, and the damage that will be done. It simply can't happen. So let's hope that cooler heads prevail on the Republican side of the aisle and we get a bipartisan deal and can move forward. And there will be some very meaty discussions in the first part of next year as the new president takes office. So, Anna, I want to start on a little bit of a personal note, if I can, and an upbeat one. You, as I understand it, are a new grandmother. So,
Oh,
congratulations.
I am. Yes, thank you, Kevin. Oh my
And
goodness. What a gift. What a blessing. She is 19 months old now, and they're at my house. They're visiting. They came for Thanksgiving, staying for Christmas, and going back after New Year. So I keep thinking of all the things I'm missing out on. So, but she is the light of our lives.
Absolutely. So I was wondering, the fact that I'm the father of twin boys who will be turning 7 in January has really affected me, obviously personally in a huge way, but also as a policymaker. You really think about the weight of your decisions and sort of the longitudinal impact, the generational impact of decisions that we make or defer, which will impact future generations. I was just thinking about you as a grandmother as you look at your granddaughter, and as we're talking about your career and thinking about the direction of the country, what your hopes and fears are as you reflect on the past 3 decades, but also think about where this country is right now, where we're going. What are your hopes and fears for that beautiful grandchild of yours as you reflect on this country?
Well, Kevin, it's a big question. Anyone that is a parent or a grandparent, um, once you have children, you look through a different lens. Your life is different when you don't have children, and when you do, uh, everything is for them. How are you going to prepare? What kind of education are they going to have? What school are they going to go to? Will they have good health care? Those are absolutely key. Now, in the continuing resolution that was scrapped today, I've worked over the last 2 years to produce a package um, that relates all to children, to pediatric drugs, uh, pediatric clinical trials that would involve combinations of cancer drugs for kids. Children are not small adults, they're children. And our healthcare system, in so many ways, has left children out, and that it's a surprise to most people. So this would be the largest pediatric comprehensive package of pediatric legislation in over a decade. And I don't know if the Republicans are going to trash it or if it will remain in a CR. We just don't know. But every step that we take that improves the lives of children, improves the lives of families, we have not only stronger families, stronger communities, and therefore a stronger country. So, as a legislator, I view my work through that lens. Families, children, and what they need in order to succeed. And the investments that we make in early childhood education, in good child care, in good health care, it's better to spend the dollars investing them in terms of prevention in so many ways than to be spending money on our criminal justice system later on and trying to rehabilitate people. So that's the way I have viewed it. And I've always thought the following. we always have challenges. Every single generation of Americans has had challenges from the beginning of our country. No generation of Americans, no matter how tough the challenges have been, have ever said, we're throwing in the towel on this experiment called democracy. And I've always viewed challenges as an opportunity. Well, if it's not working right, if something is broken, then we need to fix it. And so I think that in the new Congress, Kevin, I would say that members need to have courage and not to be fearful, not to be fearful. You know, FDR said, uttered those famous words in his first inaugural address, saying, we have nothing to fear except fear itself. And it seems to me, that people are fearful of what's coming. So no matter how tough the challenges are, don't be fearful. It's going to call on members to be courageous and look through the lens that I'm referring to. If it's good for the American people, if it's good for children, if it's good for families, it doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat. If it's good, it's good. Vote for it. If it's going to be harmful, then people have to have the courage to stand up and say so, but also offer another solution. It's not just about being against someone. It's about bringing about the best for the American people. That's why they put us in these offices. I've probably said too much, but my mind and my heart are full.
Yeah. Well, our viewers, Anna, just saw a few minutes ago a great picture of the power trio, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, yourself, and my predecessor, Congresswoman Jackie Spear. And Speaker Emerita Pelosi always ends every declarative sort of position statement with, for the children. It is
For
a
the
constant,
children. Yeah.
a constant
Yeah.
reminder of what we're doing here is about affecting the
Exactly.
future. So Anna, you've seen the evolution in our politics over some 3 decades. I'm curious how your job has evolved as the political culture has become more partisan, perhaps maybe not the most partisan in our country's history, but certainly we are at a polarized place in this country. But how has your job evolved over that time, and how has the culture in which you're operating changed
Yeah.
during that period?
It's an often asked question, Kevin. Now I'll take people back to another time, but it was a very important era when Newt Gingrich became Speaker of the House. It was the beginning of my second term. The Democrats lost the majority after holding it for 40 years, for 4 decades. Imagine that. But I was, I was new, and so it didn't have the kind of impact on me because I wasn't very much part of the previous history. Only 2 years in the majority, and I would say that Newt Gingrich changed the politics of the House and really injected a great deal of toxicity. He threw overboard, traditions of the House, bipartisanship. He even, for the new members, would presented an edict and said, no more bipartisan meetings of the new members. They used to go up to the Kennedy School at Harvard for an excellent seminar by many experts on domestic policy and such. And he stopped that. So a great deal of poison was really injected into the House. And even though he's been gone for years, the House has not been the same. Now, for me, I've always believed in developing relationships with people. No one member can get things done. You have to have partners. You have to have other members with you on your legislation. So I've always worked hard when introducing my ideas, which we call bills, to seek out a Republican co-sponsor and keep building on that. It got harder and harder to do because various speakers told their members they were not to sign on to any Democratic bills whatsoever. So it's made it more difficult. It's made it more difficult. And it's taken a toll on the country. It's taken a toll on the country. Now we're looking at a new chapter that is, many parts of it in terms of, campaigns are instructive because people, the candidates tell you what their vision is and what they want to do. And we both find, and many people find, what the president-elect hammered away at rather chilling. In many cases, it's either, it doesn't meet with constitutional muster, or it may seem like or sound like something that is un-American. But, these things unfold day by day, And there's no such thing as a straight line in life. There certainly is not a straight line in the Congress. There are many, many, many complex layers that lead up to actually passing a bill. You and I know it's not an easy thing to do. In the best of times, it's not an easy thing to do. There are some 20 to 25,000 bills that are introduced in a 2-year session of Congress. There are only about 200 or less that become law, including our nation's budget, which we are without now. So it's a tall mountain to climb. So you have to have an awful lot of determination. And if a member says, "Well, I'm in the minority party and I don't have much of a chance to do anything," and that's the modes that they adhere to. That's one mode. I don't buy into that. Do you have to work hard? Do you have to work even harder? Yes. But don't our constituents expect us to do that? I mean, we're the voice for, and the trust has been placed in us to come here to get good things done. I don't think people want to hear about how hard it is, because a lot of people get up and go to work every day, and it's not easy for them either. So that's our job. But there was a lot of sand thrown into the gears over the years, and the days of members debating like hell during the day and then going out and getting something to eat at night together, that's practically gone now, and we're not better off as a result of it.
Yeah. Well, Anna, it's interesting as you describe that, being in the minority party. I've had to give myself a little bit of a pep talk as a freshman in the minority party in a seniority system. There have been some trying moments, but there's always an opportunity to do something right and to be
Absolutely.
operational. Just being in this building, there's an opportunity to do something good every day. So I'm going to take a quick pause here, Anna, and toss it to Robin, our moderator. I think we have some poll results. I'm just curious, folks who are tuning in, what
Sure.
some of the issues are on their outlook of the country. Robin, you have some poll results for us?
Yes, sir. Just a few moments ago, we asked folks, how do you feel about the direction of our country? And there were 11% of you that responded with hopeful. 86 of the listeners responded as concerned, and 3% responded as unsure. Again, that's 11% hopeful, 86% concerned, and 3% were unsure. And I would like to take this opportunity to remind folks on the call, if you would like to ask a question, please press *3 on your telephone keypad now. And you may also press *6 if you'd like to sign up for the Congressman's e-newsletter. Congressman, back to you.
Thank you for that, Robin. And you know, folks are certainly concerned in the wake of the election results. The Democrats in my district, we get lots of calls from folks worried about a unified Republican control and a sort of the lack of balance in our system here, and lack of Democratic control. But I do remind folks, I represent everybody in my district, not just Democrats. A number of Trump voters in my district that I do represent. But Anna, you've served at various points in your career in the minority and on the other side of these votes. You know, we have such a narrowly divided House. I think it is a reminder, though, that we, even though we're in the minority party here in the House, it is such a narrow majority for the Republicans. We do have power and can help control events and stop some of the extremism that we see. But just to talk a little bit about that, Anna, and for those 86%, I guess, who are apprehensive about the future, you've seen the history here. You've seen the pendulum swing back and forth as well as power shifts in 2-year cycles. And there's certainly an opportunity. We can't get too political here and campaign oriented, but the Democrats may take the House in a couple of years and bring balance back to the equation. But sort of how you approach the job when you don't have the direct levers of power, and what do you say to those 86% who are anxious, apprehensive about what the future holds?
Yeah.
Maybe we all need a pep.
You know, that's a huge. Thank you, Kevin. That's a huge number, and I don't blame people for being concerned. I mean, I'm not a Girl Scout, you know. I mean, this is some pretty scary stuff that is being thrown about from the campaign trail, and who knows whether, you know, the president-elect is going to follow up on these things. But I think what's been unveiled in terms of who he wants to put in his cabinet is scary. It's scary. I mean, we have someone that has been is going to, well, he's been nominated, Robert Kennedy Jr., who doesn't believe in vaccines, talking about questioning whether it's even necessary for there to be polio vaccines. I mean, it's jaw-dropping. It's jaw-dropping. And you know, someone that individuals that have absolutely no experience whatsoever to be the Secretary of Defense, an individual that has no experience on the issues of intelligence. You know, when the president goes into the cloistered room with key people when something erupts in the world, he asks the Secretary of Defense, the Director of National Intelligence, what are my options? Neither one of these individuals know a bean about it. That's very dangerous for our national security. So this isn't about, you know, because someone has been elected, that whatever he asks for, you say yes to. Now, the House does not have a role in confirming nominees for the president's cabinet. That in the Constitution provides that the Senate does advise and consent. So I understand these concerns. I have deep concerns myself. Just because I'm not going to be a member doesn't mean that I stop loving my country. So, you know, where it's appropriate, again, is this going to help or harm the American people? Is this going to help or harm our national security? Those are the questions that need to be posed in making these decisions. On the issue of immigration, I think it took too long for the Democrats to come up with something. And I was not pleased about that for a very long time. But again, we need to look for policies that are going to not only strengthen our border security, but fairness, that we keep families together, that the kids that were brought to this country as infants, as babies, as little ones, this is the only country they know. They salute the flag in their classroom. They're serving in our armed forces. Do they not deserve a policy that's going to recognize them and say, we're proud of you and we want you to be a citizen of our country? So I think how the Democrats, as loyal opposition, so to speak, we can't just be against Trump. We have to be for the things that are right and good for our country. And I would remind the listeners that we have practiced what we've preached more than once in this 2-year session of Congress, where we've been in the minority. We have helped put the better policies over the finish line, even though the majority couldn't produce their own votes for it. We even saved the speaker. Why did we do that? And there were some of my constituents that were really upset that we did it. We did not think that it was fair to the American people to be subjected to total chaos, because you have to have two parties that do the governing, and they were falling apart. We're the ones that saved the day. So, I've seen a lot, and I've been able to produce a broad body of bipartisan legislation, having served the majority of my time in the Congress in the minority. So people say if you're in the minority, you can't do anything. No, that's not so. Is it harder? Yes, it is. It's never easy, but it's tougher when you're in the minority. So we have to give, when so often on the plane, you sit down, you get yourself all settled, they bring you a cup of coffee, and the person that's sitting next to you says, what line of business are you in? And I always say, I'm in the business of hope. And I think that's the way to look at this. We have to be in the business of hope. Is it going to be easy? No. Is America worth it? Of course.
Well, and I'm going to steal that line from my plane rides on a weekly basis, if you don't mind. We want to make sure
I don't mind at all.
We want to make sure we bring our callers in. A quick reminder for folks: *3 to ask a question of Congresswoman Eshoo or myself. Press *6 to sign up for my e-newsletter. And Robin, let's go ahead and bring some callers in here. I've got a few more questions for Anna before she leaves us later tonight, but let's bring some callers in if we can, Robin.
You bet. My pleasure, Congressman. Our first caller is Luke from Redwood City, and Luke has a question about continuing resolution and the federal budget. Hey, Luke, you are live on the call with the Congressman and Congresswoman. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you very much for the listening audience. I want to assure everyone I am not related to the Congressman. My name's spelled with an E, not an I. So the use of continuing resolutions to overcome the lack of a budget, isn't that an indication of a failure of leadership and also a failure of followership by the Congresswoman and presumably the Congressman-elect? Shouldn't you always vote no on a continuing resolution and insist on a budget? End of question.
Anna, do you want to take a stab at that?
Kevin? Sure, yeah. Well, it's not the ideal. but it's a very serious thing to have the government shut down and subject my constituents to that. That's a nightmare. So many of the workers in the government don't receive their pay. Think of all of the federal roles. You have federal dollars that help operate San Francisco International Airport, which is the economic backbone of San Mateo County. Post office, postal workers, I mean, you name it. I mean, it's a list longer than Highway 1 in California. So do I think that that's an ideal solution? No, it's not. But at least it keeps the agencies working and producing the benefits and the services that people absolutely rely on. But it is clearly the job of the majority, whether it's the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, to produce a budget for the country. And that's where the real failure of governance has come in with this crowd.
And I would simply just amplify that last point that Anna made. This is a majority, a Republican majority in the House that unfortunately has something of an insurrection within its own ranks. There's dysfunction within the ranks of the majority party, which is added to the dysfunction, the inability to pass this. But look, the ideal is bipartisan compromise. It's a relationships business, the bipartisan compromise. I actually have to say, I've been somewhat heartened by the relationship, the working relationship between Hakeem Jeffries, our leader, and Speaker Mike Johnson at various points. But it is not the ideal to pass a continuing resolution that sort of rolls the problem over. But the reality is a shutdown is too painful. And this expanded CR, if you will, actually had a number of new provisions that were worked out in bipartisan compromise, which is the way it's supposed to work. And that was blown up this afternoon and has thrown the headline I saw on CNN on Jake Tapper was capital and chaos. And I believe that rests at the feet of the majority party. So, Robin, do we have another caller on the line?
Yes, sir. Yes, we've got Aaron from San Mateo, and he's got a question about supporting small businesses. Aaron, you're live on the call. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, am I live? Okay. My question is, you know, I have a small business here in California, and I'm in the middle of Silicon Valley, but every time it seems like I make another expansion, I get another tax bill from someplace else that I didn't count on. And it seems like it's prohibitive for me to grow my business with so many new taxes that come along, bigger taxes that I had to pay less before. And it's really frustrating to look at my future and say, geez, should I move my business to Las Vegas or Reno to avoid all this taxation in California? And so I want to know, what are you guys doing? What do you guys plan? How is it going to get better for me as a small business as I expand? End of question, and I'll take my answer over the air.
So, Aaron, first of all, thank you for calling in. I appreciate that you're a small business owner in my district. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy. You're looking at somebody who's a former small business owner who is very sensitive to the cost challenges. We have a broader cost challenge on the San Francisco Peninsula, with the sort of the epicenter of the affordability crisis. But you're speaking to some of the challenges running a business in California. One of the issues that I found problematic, it's like an $800 franchise fee just to sort of set up shop to do business in California. I always thought that was unnecessary. We need to do whatever we can to encourage entrepreneurs and small business folks to thrive. You know, we have a small business assistance at the federal level. You're speaking sort of broadly to the range of taxes and cost structure of doing business in California. I have to say, you know, we have and again, I'm sensitive to this, but we have the fifth largest economy in the world. We are an innovative entrepreneurial state. We are a job generating state. This is a dynamic economy in which you're operating. And there are a number of supports that government provides that actually helps directly and indirectly for our local economy to be successful. But just please know that I am sensitive on those issues, and I want our small businesses to thrive. They are at the heart of what makes the peninsula a prosperous region. So I appreciate the call. Anna, don't know if you have anything to add to Aaron's comment.
Yeah, well, I would just say that I'm the daughter of a small businessman. That was how I was raised. And, the nibbling away at a profit margin is really upsetting. Some of it, it's the city and the city council that makes the decision. There are other decisions that are made at the state level, and then there are huge decisions that are made in Congress. And as long as I've been around, I have voted against, these massive corporate tax cuts that go to the top 1% of our country, and then they add to our national deficit. So, at every level of government, there has to be, I think, a deeper and broader appreciation of it's not only $800, it's not only $250. That adds up. So I'm proud of what I've done on the, my father said to me when I was coming to the Congress to be sworn in, he said, always remember extraordinary, ordinary people. They're the backbone. They're the backbone of our communities. They're the backbone of our national economy. So there has to be fairness injected into all of these decisions. We don't make all of the decisions, and that sounds like an excuse, but it's a fact. So, I'm always mindful. We have something now in Menlo Park where, there's such a push, a legitimate push to build affordable housing, but it's caused an uproar in Menlo Park because they want to eliminate, use the parking lots in our little downtown area. This is very important. I mean, you can't just, street parking doesn't meet all the parking needs. And if in fact they declare the parking lots as surplus land to build housing on, it's going to kill all the businesses on Santa Cruz Avenue, which is our little main street. So, and that's in the hands of, that decision is in the hands of the city council. But it's all of the small businesses up and down that street and the adjacent streets. So that's a challenge, and I'm not for it because of these businesses. And small businesses went through hell with the pandemic. Many of them shut down. We injected billions of dollars into small businesses. That helped save many of the businesses that are still on that main street in Menlo Park. So, you're talking to two members that are really sensitive about it, but we don't make all of the decisions. This is a big one for the city council in Menlo Park.
Anna has never forgotten that all politics is local, for sure. So,
Yeah,
Robin, I think another call. Yeah. Robin,
we actually have a question that was submitted by Stephanie. This is an online question, sir. Stephanie says, we are deeply concerned about Trump's announcement about upcoming tariffs. Abolishment of the FDIC and Social Security and Medicare are on the chopping block. What are Democrats doing to fight this?
Well, just on the budgetary question, you have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy talking about cutting $2 trillion from the budget. That is an impossibility without gutting the Defense Department, our national security, Social Security, and Medicare. It's not going to happen. And this is somebody who's never served in government at any level, Elon Musk, who has absolutely no idea about how government operates and the complexity in which the federal government operates. So we are going to stand up to those draconian cuts and the extremism when it comes forward. These are not realistic plans. That being said, I'll speak for myself. We don't object to a look at the efficiencies in the federal government. I'm sure there are plenty of opportunities to reform the way government operates. When it comes to these entitlement programs, we're going to have a challenge putting those entitlement programs on solid financial footing going forward. We probably have to raise the FICA cap so the wealthy pay a little more to help with the sustainability of those entitlement programs. There are efforts underway right now to make some positive changes that stabilize the finances of those entitlement programs over time. And I'm proud to say that I'm a fiscally responsible Democrat. The reality is we can't fund the programs that we want to fund if too much of our budget is going toward interest on the national debt. And we talked about generational equity. And I think every day about the kind of burdens that we'll be putting on our children and our grandchildren when it comes to the federal budget deficit. So I don't see those things as mutually exclusive. You can be fiscally responsible, but also invest in people and make sure government is operating in the right way. So Anna, just your thoughts about some of the cuts that are being floated and just sort of the reality that will come into play, because you're talking about people's lives, their quality of life, their health care, their ability to function. Cutting $2 trillion from a federal budget would be draconian and simply not possible. But your thoughts, Anna?
Yeah. Well, I would say, number one, both Mr. Trump and Mr. Musk don't have a clue how the average person lives in this country. They don't have a clue. They may throw out, especially the president-elect, I'm for you, and and all of this stuff. They go near Social Security and Medicare. They're going to have their heads handed to them by the American people. There will be a revolution on the ground in this country. Now, maybe the caller is not aware that they've tried this before. I have cast votes in opposition to that in previous years, when they went after Social Security, when they went after Medicare, and when they went after the Affordable Care Act. But when these laws and the words that created them walk into people's lives, it means something to them. You realize how many tens of millions of Americans live on their Social Security check only, and it's not easy for them. That was my parents. I would include in that. So, as I said, they go after cutting Social Security and Medicare. They're going to have their heads handed to them. They have no idea. And it really stems from their lack of complete understanding how average people live in this country. And I think when they come up with their huge tax cuts, the Democrats should say the people that deserve tax cuts are the average people in this country. The average people in this country, and we should take care of them first. Demand that and have a good package, a solid package of tax cuts for the average working American. So it'll be a battle royal, but it'll be a battle worth fighting to save these programs that are really they save people's lives. They wouldn't be able to live without them.
So Anna, you have called yourself an ambassador to the future, and you just today were speaking passionately in our California delegation meeting about your service, what it means to be a member of the California delegation in this building, and in particular,
Mhm.
one of the stalwarts of the Bay Area delegation, giants of the Congress. What has it meant to be a part of that delegation, and more specifically, to work with your longtime Bay Area
Mhm.
colleagues? Meant
Yeah,
to
sure.
you, but also it's meant to the
Well, I
Congress.
mean, it's been a huge honor because our region has produced giants in the Congress. I would say number one that no member of our delegation ever forgets that Californians send more federal tax dollars to Washington D.C. than come back to our state in terms of the services and everything that's attached to that. So because we're the largest delegation in the nation, there's an unspoken resentment of California. We always say that, oh, this is ABC, anybody but California. So we have to be continue to be, and that's what I was saying to my colleagues. I hoped I wasn't preaching to them, but the California is, if you subtract California's economy out of our national economy, it would be our national economy would sink enormously. So we have huge responsibilities for all of our communities. And, we're the agriculture that takes place in California is the most in the entire nation, So the California delegation has to be well, first of all, there's a great deal of expertise in our delegation, and we're spread out in all of the committees in the Congress, and we always have to have California on our minds because we're innovative, we're creative, we're forward thinking. We don't want more than what our fair share is, but we sure are not going to sit around and accept less of it.
That's right. So, Anna, a little bit of a tricky question. I know some folks bristle at the word legacy, and but I wanted to ask you, what do you want to most be remembered for as a public servant in this Congress when people mention your name in this building and what you represented? What is most important to you to be remembered for? And as we're sort of coming up on the top of the hour here, I'm curious what retirement looks like. What is next for Anna? Double
Well,
question
I'll
there
take
for you.
that. Yeah, I'll take the easier one first, and that is I haven't made any commitments to anyone for anything. I think I just want some time where I can not have a lot on my mind, because these jobs are 7 days a week. You're always on call, commuted across the country every single week to be with my constituents. I don't, about a legacy. I hope that that I will be remembered for honoring the sacred trust that people placed in me, and that I've given my all to the people that I've represented. There is a body of a wonderful body of legislation. My record so far is that I've had 68 bipartisan bills signed into law by 5 presidents. But it's the person and how I think they've conducted themselves, how well they have cared for their constituents, that every single person counts, that you want to do something about their hopes and their aspirations and what's not working in their lives, that you help turn that around. But that sacred trust is something that has meant everything to me, because we have nothing if we don't have the trust of our constituents and that we live up to it. So I'm unendingly grateful to my constituents for placing their trust in me. And it's been really the privilege of my life to be a member of the Congress of the United States of America.
Anna, that's a wonderful place to wrap. It's been an honor to have you on this town hall. More importantly, it's been an honor to have you as a colleague, and the folks of the 16th Congressional District have been graced by your representation of them.
Oh, you're so
this.
wonderful, Kevin. I'm so proud of you, and I know you're going to do great and good things for the people of San Mateo County. And I want to hear you report to me that when you take future polls, that the hopeful moves up dramatically.
There you go.
There's no question that it's going to be a tough ride. We're going to get through this, and no matter how hard it is, I always say to my constituents, America is worth it. America is worth it. So I have every faith in you. You're a good and decent man you've distinguished yourself in everything that you've done. And I know why your constituents trust you. You've earned it. So I thank you for bringing me in on this time. It's just been wonderful. And to all of the callers, I wish you really blessed holidays and every blessing for you and your families and for our country in the new year.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. Thank you to our constituents, my constituents and our Peninsula residents for joining us for this special hour. I want to thank you for the opportunity to represent you. For more information, to maybe share that you watch this video is being recorded, and we are posting this on our website at kevinmullin.house.gov. It will be available there. We always appreciate the participation. Apologies to our callers we could not get to. We're making every effort to capture the questions and make sure that we respond appropriately. So thank you so much for watching this evening. I'm Congressman Kevin Mullin from Capitol Hill, and we will see you next time.